Welcome to the Wall of Weird. This is our first podcast, and hopefully, you all will enjoy listening to us talk about Smallville. I'm Nicole.
I'm Brian.
I'm Lisa.
I'm Durbin.
And we're all big Smallville fans, and we're excited to watch Rogue today. So, if you want to watch along with us or listen along with us, because we aren't going to have the audio of the show playing, I'm going to give you all a countdown to
And
Rogue.
we're watching this off of Hulu.
Yes.
Yeah.
Off of Hulu. So,
And just in case you're wondering why we haven't started with the pilot episode, we're not going to go through it chronologically just because we want to feel free to be able to dip in and out of different seasons and go to episodes that we feel like visiting at any particular time rather than having to be tied to the chronological order, so to speak. And today, Rogue got it. So
it would also take us a very long time to go through.
Yeah. And other people have been there and done it as well.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. So this
We're trying to have a different angle.
Yeah, this is more a dip in, dip out. Let's see what we've got. Revisit kind of thing. So yeah, Rogue is first on the chopping block.
All right, here we go. 3, 2, 1, play.
Classic season 1.
Yes. See, I love this here in the beginning. The piece of armor with the S on it. Like it's blatant foreshadowing, but I love how Smallville just has so much fun with that. And I love Clark's confusion. Like, I can't imagine writing in a battle with an S on my chest. I just love how Smallville has fun with itself.
Yeah, on the nose. I one of many references that Lex will make to Alexander. Alexander the Great, obviously. Very, very big inspiration on Lex's character. Yep.
Well, that episode where they meet Cassandra, he says it, I don't want to do good things. I want to do great things. Constantly tying himself to Alexander the Great.
Yeah.
It's definitely fun. And I love how Lex here is trying to get Clark and Lana together here in season 1.
That was one of the
Clark's hair. What is going on with Clark's hair there? Sorry, just like that's like a mop on top of his head. It's just...
It's not the worst hair I've seen Clark have.
No, I'm not a big fan of his hair in the pilot. But...
It's going to be better than this. What's that?
It's a little bit better than Whitney's hair there, though, wouldn't you say?
Anything's better than Whitney, period.
See, I go on the Lana rants, but I think we could really get Brian going on some Whitney rants.
Oh, man, you can get me on the Whitney rants. Good grief, I do not like that character. I'm so glad they got rid of him in season 1.
I'm not a fan of him either, and they had a hard time figuring out what to do with him.
Yeah, but that was the problem. They just didn't know what to do with him at all. And is that his only scene in this episode? I can't remember.
I can't remember, but if it isn't his only scene, that just shows us the problem with Whitney, right? The fact that all of us are not little Smallville fans, we're big Smallville fans. And we're like, wait, is that his only scene in this episode?
It might be.
Oh, Lex and his private tours with pretty women.
And this is a great little important scene that when you're first watching it, you don't realize how important it is. You show the badge and this guy here that he's beating up.
Yeah.
It all comes back.
Yeah. I do love this guy, though. Like, I just love the whole basis of this episode, because this isn't just somebody discovers Clark's secret. This is the Kent family worst nightmare of who discovers Clark's secret. And it's in the first half of season 1. And then it happens again later in season 1, also with the Kent's worst nightmare.
Well, here it comes. He's going to stop the bus. This is one of my favorites.
Yes.
It's all about the doggy.
He saves the dog. Yeah.
I gotta say,
he recovers so well from his heart attack, or
Well,
not
I was
only
gonna
that,
say,
but
but
Indigestion.
how does he
Indigestion,
survive
that's it.
that? I don't know.
He didn't even end
No
up
chance.
in Metropolis General, yeah.
Where did all the fire come from? That's what I want to know. When that bus careens into Clark, it
Oh
just
my
turns into a ball of flame.
is
like-
it supposed to be the engine exploding or something?
Is it all the metal just cramming together and just creating
Could be.
sparks?
Isn't the
Do
engine
we
at
ever
the
go
back
back
of
to
the
this bus driver? Does he live?
Yeah, he does.
think
They
the
do
bus-
go back. He lives. I don't
Okay.
know how.
Yeah, you're
But
not
in
walking
that
away
last
from-
shot, he's definitely not sitting in the seat right now.
Mm.
Yeah.
It didn't even need any specialists flown in either.
Well, he's not a loser, right? Oh, there's the bus driver.
There he is.
There he is.
Wait, so it wasn't a heart attack.
No.
You're right, Brian. It was
Yeah.
indigestion because he'd be
It's
gone. With
indigestion.
that heart
He's
attack.
got Gabby's gone.
I'm alive. Dude's too old. He's falling asleep at the wheel.
It could have just been a minor heart attack.
Come on.
Yeah. Still though, somebody call 911 real fast.
It's just that they literally just
on,
had that
everyone.
there then to show that Clark hadn't
Somebody
killed him,
say-
despite the fact that he clearly would have done.
Yes. Oh
With that
man.
ball of flame that engulfed the cabin there. Yeah,
They
but
love-
it couldn't have been the engine because buses have their engines at the back. So there was no reason for there to be a massive ball of fire.
Well, the reason for the massive ball of fire, really, Brian, is just because it looks awesome to have Superman stop something inside of a massive ball of fire. Hence, there was a massive ball of fire.
They blow up about every vehicle in this show. Like that does
Mhm.
not
And
happen.
they're all in these opening credits, by the way.
Yes.
I know. And what kills me too is that characters know they're gonna blow up. They're like, oh, we gotta get out of this vehicle. It's gonna blow up. Like no one does that when they get in a car accident.
You ever see The Last Action Hero? And the bad guy comes out of the movie screen and he shoots a car in the gas tank and it doesn't blow up. And he's like, wait,
Yeah.
what's wrong with this thing?
Yeah.
Oh,
I
there's some
love-
foreshadowing. The
Yeah.
engine right there.
That is a foreshadowing. What I love about is every single time they do these little things just to show you how strong he is or how invulnerable he is, and just on everyday things. Like he just pulled that engine with one hand without feeling it, with it being nothing. After
Yeah. Or like
Jonathan
in-
was trying to do it with two hands and struggling.
Or like in season 2, where Jonathan two hands and he's grunting to get hay out of the back of the truck, and Clark comes and one bale in one hand, one bale the other, and just tosses it like it's paper. Yeah, it's pretty cool.
And he does that with bags of grains too. And I actually have some farm animals, so I know what it's like to lift a bag of grain.
I want to know how there's any chores left to do on that farm, considering they've got Clark, to be honest.
Well, I think that's the point, right? Because I think in later seasons, they mention how that farm and their business and what they do would have gone under without Clark. Because of their finances, they would have been in trouble. But it's Clark who single-handedly keeps the farm afloat. And I think it's season 4 or something where Jonathan is like trying to do everything around the house alone, and they're afraid for his heart.
Yeah, that's
I-
when they're trying to get him off to college.
How did they
Yes.
manage it when he was in Metropolis for 3 months?
Well, they
They
almost
went
sold
under,
it, remember?
didn't
They were
they?
selling the farm.
Yeah.
Yeah, he went to auction. They went under without him.
Yeah, because they don't have any help, and they don't have
Yeah.
all that. They don't have great.
They can't
equipment.
afford help. Jonathan's too proud to ask for help.
Yeah, and they
Clark,
don't
yeah.
have any Mexican illegal immigrants either.
Yeah, we learned that in season 6.
True. They did have that one farmhand when he was younger, when Clark was younger, right? Because he was in
Yeah,
Shimmer.
but when he was younger, he was still grown into his power, so that makes
Yep.
a lot of sense.
Yep.
Now, Brian and I, with being English, we know about the actress Kelly Brook and what her acting skills are like and what she's known for.
Yeah, I was just going to say you're playing it fast and loose with the word actress there. It's just like throwing that word around. She acquits herself well enough in this, I think. But she's no. There's a reason we've not seen her in many fine.
Yeah.
roles.
But in one of the Smallville behind the scenes of the series 1 that was done by E4, Michael Rosenbaum actually mentions about Kelly's assets. Which I
I'm
thought
sure
was
he
quite funny.
does.
Former lingerie model, by the way.
Oh, okay. My mind was going to so many places.
Didn't she host the big breakfast at one point as well?
She did, yes.
Yeah. Awesome.
Is
And
this
this
her
show-
only episode? I'm trying to remember now that
No,
I've seen
she had
her.
like
She
a
was
3
in 4,
episode arc.
I
Oh, was
think.
it 4? Yeah.
Okay.
3 or 4, yeah.
She had quite an arc.
Yeah,
Because I get her mixed up sometimes with Luther's other wife, but that's only at the beginning of season 2. But then his last wife is the one that gets Clark's blood at the end of season 2. Yeah. Lex gets married a lot, doesn't he?
yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's like Ross from Friends, just
Yes.
constantly marriage and divorces.
Pretty much. Except at least, Lex's marriages are worse because a lot of his wives end up
Tried to kill him.
That's true.
All of his wives? I think literally he's had 3 wives. They all tried to kill him because even Lana tried to kill him at one point. I'm sure.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, she
And
was in Rogue, Shimmer, Hug and Leech.
Mm.
I'm going to try to stay off the rails here, but I'll say this. When Lana marries Lex, she really becomes a villain herself.
Yes.
And we'll leave it there.
We'll
Stick with
leave
Rogue.
it
We'll
there.
stick with
That's,
Rogue.
that's part of her dark arc.
Yes. Yes.
Oh, this is
Perhaps-
where Lana ends up running the torch, right? And has no idea what she's doing.
Yeah.
Yeah, but she
Yeah.
goes out of her way to do everything she can. Especially in season
Yeah.
1, Lana is, very self-sacrificing here.
She really is.
She's not doing it for herself. She's really trying to help, and she just kind of gets kind of like Lex, no matter how hard they try, other characters seem to give them a hard time.
I kind of feel like, okay, so no secret, I don't like Lana, but I feel like in season 1 where they had Whitney and they didn't know what to do with him, it gave them something to do with Lana, and I could bear her in this season. So like here where she's taken over the torch for Chloe, I think that's kind of cool what she's doing to try to help Chloe out there.
So this was one of the first times that we kind of got a little insight into Lex'S Darkness, because I think up to this point he hadn't really we didn't really know much about his past, and now we find out how he was connected to this cop and that he was
on the
covering things up for
payroll,
him. Yeah.
Yeah, this is the build up to the Club Zero episode where we
Yep.
finally get the full
Mhm.
revelation.
Yeah.
I cannot remember this cop's name, and yet he's one of my Phelan. And he's one of my
Yeah.
favorite Smallville villains. Like I love Phelan a lot in this episode.
Yeah. I find that the actor who plays him does over-egg it a bit. He's a bit over the top, but as an antagonist goes, he's so much better than a Freak of the Week style villain.
Yes.
Because it's all about information. His weapon is information, so he's not coming at Clark with a meter-infected power. It's all about the information that he has that allows him to have a hold over both Clark and Clark's family, and it's that creates the tension, and it's just for me it just makes for a much more interesting villain than the usual run-of-the-mill we get.
So Lana's the only one that tested Clark's powers without trying to kill him. Just say that.
Yeah, that was still a horrible episode. We could talk about it when we get there.
That's one of my favorites.
See, since young Clark's powers are still developing, obviously he's not hurt. But that took him out. It looked like it took the breath out of him for a second. And later we find he gets shot and he has bruises. So
Yep.
I wonder, did that hurt when that fell on him at
I
all?
think it did, because he gets stronger as the series goes on. Because like even in the pilot episode when he sticks his arm into the shredder thing, Jonathan's really surprised by that, and so you get the sense that this strength that he's got right now is literally something that has kind of not been on
Developing
the
with his
scene
maturity.
quite as long, maybe. Yes. So as he matures, he gets stronger and whatnot. So
this right here is this look that Clark has. I think it's the first time that you see this side to him, where he can actually stand up for himself. And
I think you're right now that I think about that.
well, doesn't he? He punches through a
beam later. Yeah.
later on, doesn't he? And
that's when
like
he's angry. Yep.
Yeah, that's the first time we see Clark proper get riled by someone who's
And even without red kryptonite.
Yep.
yeah.
Yeah, and
Phelan is so good.
Who's going to pay for the damage to that?
I would say though that in terms of the pilot with the wood chipper, I don't think that his parents would have tested his invulnerability.
No.
You know, and
No, I don't think they would
so-
have. But at the age he's at by now, they should be aware of what, you know, as a certain level of his invulnerability. So for me, the surprise on Jonathan's face at the result of Clark putting his arm in the wood chipper suggests that actually this is new territory for Jonathan as well. Not that he doesn't know he's invulnerable, but like the extent of his powers.
Well, I mean, Clark was surprised because he got hit by a car,
Mm.
which is worse than just having the engine fall on him.
Yeah.
Yeah, because he had the surprise on his face too when he looked up at the bridge and he goes, "Yeah, if you'd hit me, I'd be dead."
Yeah, he was surprised. But I don't think that, you know, Clark was jumping
Is
off
this
the top of the
normal?
roof to see what would happen.
Yeah.
He would not be doing that. But he didn't know he had super speed because wasn't he playing hide and go seek or tag or something?
Yep.
And he ran and found himself in that field. However, that story goes.
6
I think
years
they were
old?
playing catch.
Yes, I think
Yeah.
so.
Yep. Yeah, he knew he had super speed and he knew he was strong.
See,
That was
Lex is
obvious.
awesome. Okay, because this kind of stuff right here, like how Lex is trying to help Clark and Lana get together and get Whitney out of the way, and how Lex is here not prying into Clark's abilities. He is a little bit, but you really see the genuine friendship here where Lex is like, if Phelan is on your tail, what has he got on you? Tell me so I can help you. I love that about Lex this season.
He's still being devious, though. He wants to know the secret. Yeah.
No, he
is
wants
it-
to know the secret.
Mm.
I'm not saying he doesn't,
Yeah.
but I'm also saying, aside from a little of the darkness, him trying to pry, there's also genuine friendship still here. Like you can
Yeah.
see, it. Like there's the darkness and the light wrestling more than they've ever wrestled in this season because he genuinely wants a brother like Clark.
Yeah, he wants to help him. He knows that
I
Phelan's
think
onto him
with
and that's
Lex,
something.
I think with Lex, it's that I think he believes that that's what he wants as well.
Mm-hmm.
And I think until he has a piece of information, I don't think he himself even knows how he will react to it. And I think the problem is that actually, if he got that information, things would change. And that's when darkness would set in and he'd start to see ways in which he could use that information to manipulate and control. And
That's how I feel about it too. That's why I don't think him telling the secret here in season 1 would have.
And I think you're right about that. I just think they do a good job of making us feel for Lex.
Yep.
And those
Oh, yeah,
moments
without
to
a doubt.
help Clark, you know? But I think you're 100% right. I think if Clark told his secret, the darkness would have taken hold.
Plus, Clark's so young; he hasn't developed yet, so who
Yeah.
knows where it could go? Yeah,
He's only
But
15.
we do know where
and-
it goes. Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah.
And this is the first time we see Jonathan's temper. This is great.
oh yeah.
Yeah, and you know, Jonathan doesn't have really much he could do to protect Clark. That's the problem. He doesn't have the money. He doesn't have the kind of power. So he tries to just. That's why he gets so frustrated.
Mm.
Yeah. And you can just feel that, you know, it's kind of like what they say in Batman versus Superman, Alfred to Bruce, you know, it's those feelings of powerlessness that turn good men cruel. And you can just imagine not turning Jonathan cruel, but that feeling of powerlessness. I need to protect my son.
powerlessness.
And he's got the power and the Luther's got the money. What do I got to protect my son from this guy?
Mm.
Come on, you got to say it like Jeremy Irons.
Yeah, and I love,
Powerlessness.
but I love how you can see that in Jonathan is how much
Play
he
away,
wants to protect Clark here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's what I love about the Kents. And it's what makes season 5 so heartbreaking when we lose Jonathan, because he really is just the heart and soul of the Kent family, you know?
Isn't that Martha?
Okay, maybe, but I love Jonathan. Like he's one of my
I know.
absolute
Martha's
favorite
the
characters.
heart, Jonathan's the soul.
There
I
you
think,
go.
I
Yeah. No, I find Jonathan to be the strength.
Yeah,
Mm.
that's I like that better. He's the strength.
Strength of spirit.
Yes. I mean, look at that helplessness on his face as Phelan is walking away and now giving him this threat, whispering that threat in his ear. Just what does a mortal man do to protect his immortal son at this moment?
Yeah, and he doesn't want to use someone like the Luthers he doesn't want to owe them anything because he knows
Well,
what
he
will
already
happen.
does.
I
I
know.
mean, he doesn't technically owe him anything, but he saw what happens when
Yep.
you let the Luthers help you. And Phelan just plays it off. Just talking, jeez.
I know that's it's hard for them because they're just a poor farmer family.
Yep. I feel like as the show got more popular, that's when they got it up to 10 seasons. But I almost feel like right here in season 1, you can almost see they have a plan. Because right here, Jonathan's anger in that scene foreshadows his anger in other scenes leading up to what will eventually kill him. And it's really cool how you could just look back and see like the foundations they're laying in all these things.
Well, there was a bit of anger as well in Hothead, but it was all about protecting Clark.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So here's a scene where, Lana's trying to do the right thing here, and Chloe just gets pissed off at her.
Yeah, but this is that weird space, right? Where they don't really trust each other yet. They're not really friends. And to Chloe, Lana is a bimbo cheerleader, and she's got a major crush on Clark, and Clark has a blind eye to Chloe with all eyes out for Lana.
Yeah, that's what this is really about for her.
Yeah.
For Chloe. And Clark cannot understand what's going on right now.
No. I'll speak on behalf of
such
men.
a simpleton.
We're stupid.
I
We
know,
are stupid and thick-headed.
There's 2 hot girls after you. Yeah, you don't know what's going on.
he tries
you
to
must
get
be from another planet.
Sad thing, her line there, it's all things Lana.
Yep.
And this isn't just my Lana prejudice speaking. This is how much I love the character Chloe. I really wish that Clark and Chloe gave it a go. I really do. Because we know they're not going to end up together, but they are so, like, it just would have been so fun to have seen a Clark and Chloe.
You see, I disagree because I think that would have ruined their friendship.
It could have,
it would have
Oliver
been
and Felicity. It could have, like, Oliver and Felicity could have ruined it.
I'm gonna go with Nicole on this one, just because I think
so am I.
It's that whole thing where the moment you get Mulder and Scully together, it's ruined. The moment you get like Lois and Clark in the original Lois and Clark series of the 90s together, it's ruined. But it's like you've got to keep it's moonlighting. The moment they get together in moonlighting, that's it. Because the thing you had was that tension, the chemistry that's there, that tension of never having it, requited. It's just
Just think about all the Lana drama and imagine that's what would have happened with Clark and Chloe. All right?
Oh, no, I would hate
God,
that.
it'd have gone on to series 11, 12, 13. Oh.
That's what I'm saying. That's what it would have been like.
Because the thing is, in any TV show with the relationships, if you have 2 people together, you can't have them just be happy all the time. Because if you have that, then there's no drama, there's no tension, there's no show. So the only alternative to that is to have drama. If you put drama in, that means fights.
But they did a good job with Chloe.
All that stuff.
Yeah, but they only had
but they didn't get together till like what?
Well, I'm reading season 11 right now, and they're still fantastic together. So
they don't have as much drama between in the relationship, but they have drama outside where they kind of does tug a little bit on their relationship.
Have you noticed that the same apartment block that he runs to when he's on Red K?
It looks like
yes, it is. I like this scene here a lot because on the one hand, I want to say bravo to Clark because he doesn't want to give into the darkness and give into the evil. But it's also sad because here's Clark thinking he's being really smart, but he's just not.
I was really surprised by what Clark did here. I thought it was pretty smart for him, as a
it's as smart as he can.
I'm even more surprised that Phelan could get out of it.
Yeah, I mean, how did Phelan get out? I mean, if you think about it, it should have worked. But it shows how corrupt he is.
But Phelan acting like Jack Nicholson in a later scene, overacting the scene like crazy. You walk into a crack house with 10 plans and not just one. He has to say it like that too.
But the thing is, that's just a line of dialogue that's like a get out of jail free card.
Yes, it is.
Well, you don't actually have to show us how this dude got out of it. You just have to tell us that, he's so clever. We don't need to know what it was, but he had something. No, I call BS on that. And
Yeah, we're talking about a 15-year-old boy, not a sort of like 12th level intellect, you know.
Yes. Which makes me wonder, though. Let's think about that for a second, because that's an interesting discussion. How differently do you think season 10 Clark would have handled this exact same situation?
Oh, very different.
Very differently, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I wonder what he would have done. I'm trying to think, like, what would season... I bet season 10 Clark wouldn't even be in this room right now.
No, he wouldn't. He would have found some other way to get him.
He'd have got
But
Oliver
but Clark's
dressed
finger.
as-
I think about this a lot, and Clark's fingerprints gets on everything.
Well, I would think about that as Superman all the
I mean,
time, because Superman wears no gloves. I mean, identify him by his prints.
That's assuming that he has oily hands like us mortal human beings.
That is true.
Weird
He might
thing.
not. Yeah.
Oh man, that's so good. Oh, he
Laugh
pulls
then.
it out of the wall, and there's your file.
I do love that
He's
scene.
got a
It
little
is-
snake on his face.
Yep.
Oh, Clark.
The snake, and then he zooms off. Yeah.
I'm sorry, Phelan, but you're not explaining your way out of that one.
No. But he does, because of
Not-
the throwaway line. You go into a crack house with 10 planes, not
The only
He's
the only
got all
way
those
he's
cops
getting
on
out of that-
payroll.
Yeah, exactly. The only way he's getting out of that is if all those cops that are just turned up were already waiting in the wings because they're in on it. They're with him.
Well, something did happen to Phelan though, because he wasn't able to be a cop anymore after that. Phelan was looking for money to do his plan B. His plan B was to essentially run off and
Retire.
retire with
Yeah.
um
Oh, that's right, because he does have that line about retiring early. I did
Mhm.
kind of forget about that.
yeah, but you said that he couldn't be a cop
Right.
anymore.
yeah. No, he wasn't. He said that you screwed things up for me, and so now I have to, do it this way essentially.
Yeah.
And so when he set Clark up, now this guy here was the guy we saw in the first scene.
Mm.
Oh my gosh, I never connected that. Why did I never connect that?
That's why I said,
I've seen
that
it, I don't know
most
how
people
many times.
most people don't connect that. But as I said, that first scene, it all comes back.
I don't think it helps that you see him upside down in that shot.
That's true. Yeah.
Comes in, you just see a dude upside down. So by the time you kind of tilt your head to look at him, he's gone. So it's just like, yeah.
Yeah, well, at one point when I was watching this, I was wondering, I was like, do we know that guy at all? And then I looked carefully and I said, oh, that is that guy. So Phelan is essentially kind of rogue right now.
Name of the episode.
He's not. Yes, exactly. He is not a detective at the moment, and he's setting up Clark just to force his hand so that he can get the jewels and get money to leave the country. And
Also, maybe he didn't get out of the trouble he was in. He just got his bail, and now he's trying to start his new life.
Yes.
Fascinating.
yes,
So that's one of his 10 plans he went into the crack house with.
yes. But I love this so much when Clark gets so mad and he punches this, and the look on his face, like, oh shit.
Yeah. Well, 'cause think
Gonna have
about
to
it. For
rebuild
all
the
his
house.
great powers, what can he do about this? He's like all of these powers, and he's essentially tied up and can't do anything.
He's just looking at that beam, thinking, "Oh, I'm gonna have to fix that."
Yeah,
later."
exactly what I'm gonna have to fix that. Like, can you imagine having all that strength and being angry? And usually you can, like, punch a pillow, or even if people punch a wall, it's not going to do that much damage. But when Clark does it, he completely
Yes.
destroys something, and then he doesn't have that release of that anger that humans can get.
Here it is, the Jack Nicholson moment. There it is, him getting all angry and over the top. Oh, look at
Oh, look at his eyes. His
Oh.
eyes pop out. It also happened in Exile.
Yes.
All I
When
can
he
say
was
is it's a good job he
threatening
doesn't have
Edge.
heat vision at this point.
I know.
It is a good thing he doesn't have heat vision here. Or that it didn't accidentally form here out of anger instead of
He doesn't
horniness.
get heat vision from anger, though.
No,
you,
yes.
you only get it from horniness, as we know. When people,
That is an interesting Kryptonian thing you don't learn until you watch Smallville. Watch that growth and development, Clark.
and when Lana gets his powers and sees herself in a mirror.
Oh, yeah, we don't go down first.
Anyway, Rogue.
Back on
Yes.
track.
Yes, I love that. So, no, here he is. He's looking at that beam like, oh, man, I gotta fix this now.
Well, I also think him looking at that beam is all part of that hopelessness.
Yeah,
like
it
you
is.
said, he can't vent his anger because he will destroy things. He can't stop Phelan because Phelan has got one over him. He's here. He is a Superman, and he's trapped. What do you do?
Yeah, and he never wants, anyone else to suffer because of him, and that hurts him more than anything.
Yeah.
At this point, because he doesn't have his other powers, obviously he doesn't have the heat vision, he doesn't have the blowing and all that stuff. It is literally kind of the strength and speed, and it's like he can't do anything with it. So he's got all this strength, all this power, but it means nothing at this point, because how do you use that power against someone like Phelan when you're not willing to kill?
Well,
Yeah.
the speed, I think he could use more. But I like this episode because it ties in, which they did a lot in season 1, is they tied in the multiple stories here going on, to where they're both struggling. They're trying to help out someone else, and it's not working very well.
Yeah. There's a thematic tie for all the different stories that are going on, which I always like. I think like one of my favorite episodes from season 2 is Precipice, and there's three different stories going on in that, but they're all thematically linked. And I think when you have the different stories and the B plots don't necessarily have a thematic link to the A plot, it feels like stuff's just cobbled together. I find that they're the weaker episodes, whereas
Yeah, and I like how Clark and Lana are going through it together right there, and it's just helping them bond as well.
It's true.
Whereas
I love this scene. It's one of my favorites. And I saw Flash first, so it just it's just amazing.
Not the last time he's going to be wearing an orange jumpsuit.
Yeah.
Clark, I think, ends up in jail more than Jonathan.
Yeah. Well, 10 seasons, after a while, you're like, all right, how do we get this thing moving forward? Flip the coin. Clark loses his powers.
Yeah.
Flip the coin. Red kryptonite. Flip the coin.
I don't think he ends up in prison as often as Lana ends up in the hospital.
No.
Yes. Lana is in debt for the rest of her life with the sheer amount of time she. Well, actually, no. She got $10 million out of Lex in season 6. I take it back.
All gone on medical bills.
But for all the stuff that Clark did, he still got a clean slate, didn't he? When Sam Lane investigated him.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, no, his mom probably helped take care of that.
Oh yeah, she became the senator, so she probably took care of some of those darker places. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. No, but I really like the family connection in this scene, and how, he's saying how, you need to be honest with us and let us help you get through this.
Yeah.
And Jonathan's really guiding
I also
him.
Love this anger. He almost killed. And then Jonathan's like, but you didn't, right? And how somebody like Clark can't afford to be like that.
Yes. And how he's the one that really helps Clark stop himself.
Yeah. Oh, I miss Jonathan.
And I love when they have the fists here to the glass and they're connecting to each other.
Yeah, it's great.
Well, again, that's a bit with the Flash.
Yep, and it's one of my favorite moments between Clark and Jonathan right there.
Mm-hmm.
Again, like one of the things, it just reminds me how much I love Lex, and I love Michael Rosenbaum as Lex.
Yeah, it's great, isn't it?
Oh, and he's so trying to help him out here, and Lex does not understand why he won't accept his help.
Just let him fly the best lawyers from Metropolis.
Yeah, why not? Like, what's wrong with that? Why not accept that help? I don't.
I think it's just Clark's paranoia. It's like, wait, what does he have? Like the chance that other people will have to figure out what Phelan has on Clark, Because I mean, how else do you get Jonathan free except you find out what does Phelan have on Clark?
Yeah, but don't forget, Clark's mistrust of the Lufers is down to Jonathan.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's true.
Mm-hmm.
And Clark fighting his destiny is also Jonathan.
Yeah.
The Kents weren't perfect, but that's one of the best portrayals of the Kents, though, right? Because isn't that human that we relate to that? Like,
Yes.
here they are, they've done the best job with Clark, and they really have made him into Superman, but also their own fears and their own perfections also got him there. And so it's very interesting.
See, here we go. Internal Affairs
Yep.
is asking about me.
More questions than I want to answer.
It's our problem. uh,
So here we go back to Alexander's breastplate with the S.
mhm.
Yes.
Connecting back to why we saw that first scene. And he knows
Yep.
how to use his parents against him. He knows how important they are to him.
Mm.
Yeah, and right here, that line, whether your dad beats the Chargers or not, he's going to lose the farm and he's going to lose everything. So just, this guy's thrown all of his ammo at Clark right now. I don't know what I'd do if I was Clark. That's a tough position to be in right there.
Absolutely. I'd probably...
Thank God for Lex. Sitting
I'd
right
probably
there
ask for
spying on him.
Oh, yeah. And Lex here, I mean, Lex needs to find out. He knows that Phelan knows something. And he has to find out. This is really that building up of that obsession that Lex has. And
definitely, because Phelan's got the backstory with Lex, and why is Phelan so intrigued with a farm boy from Kansas?
And he has something on him.
Definitely, yeah.
Now, as the show progresses, so it's not just a this episode thing, but as the show progresses and there's more meteor freaks and they're able to tie it to kryptonite, it makes me wonder why Lex still remains so obsessed with Clark. Because wouldn't it be Clark is just one of many meteor-infected people? Like, he doesn't realize Clark is an alien until, the 7th season.
Yeah, but it's more the fact that he's got that personal connection to him, and also the fact that Clark has this kind of hero thing going on where that's why Lex kind of wants that honesty from him, whereas everyone else is a villain. All the meteor freaks.
True.
You get a meteor power, you end up trying to kill Lex or Lana, one of the two, and then there's no reason to want to get to know that kind of person. Whereas with Clark, because Lex can't understand why, if Clark does have these powers, if Clark does have something special about him like that, why doesn't he share it with the world? Why is he keeping it quiet?
Definitely.
Because in Lex's mind, if he had something like that, he would want the world to know about it.
Yeah.
If you were human and you had the powers, then you'd want the social media storm. But
do you think? I don't know that he would, because he knows that concealing that kind of power is also very powerful, right?
Yeah.
But I think he doesn't understand why Clark doesn't trust him. And that's...
Yes, and he's lived a life where nobody has trusted him or loved him, and he wants a brother.
Yes.
I don't know, if you look at, like...
Are you trying to get me sorry for feeling for Lex? Well, I'm all there. Julian, Luther.
I understand where he's coming from.
If you look at season 8, when obviously Lex is making that suit for himself, but Lana ends up getting it. That there tells you the mindset of Lex, of where he would end up if he had those powers. He would take them and he would use them himself, and he would let the world know about it.
This is great, and I love how he's
back on track. Come on, Bram.
Yep, come on.
I am back on track because it's tied to what we were saying here. Why is Lex so obsessed with knowing Clark's secret? And it's because he cannot understand.
What are those cops doing? Can you explain?
Those are our mall guards. Those aren't cops.
Okay.
Those are the mall guards. I think it would have been hilarious if that clock had a bomb in it. That would have cracked me up. But
I mean, they're just watching Lex open the
yeah, I know.
That always...
I mean, if I was the mall guard, I would have been like, if you want to open it, that's one thing, but I'm going to go get cover. The X-ray vision. I love how they do X-ray vision on this show. It's so smart.
And this, I wasn't really expecting. I didn't know what Clark was going to do. And
I didn't either. I remember the first time I watched this episode ever, and I was wondering, how is Clark going to get out of this?
Yeah, I was like, they're not going to make Clark steal, are they?
Yeah. Well, because the first time I ever watched this, I was on edge in this episode. It's why it's always stood out as one of my favorites, because it's like,
Can I just ask,
this moment.
Is this the one where he does the left to the right, left to the right with the gun?
I freaking like this. I think this is the first time Clark found out I'm faster than a freaking speeding bullet.
Yeah, I think that's why he goes. I think he overcompensates, which is why he goes back and forth.
I think like it's an experiment. It's like he's been pushed and he's discovered something new.
Like he's really kind of freaked out. He doesn't realize how much faster he is than the bullet.
Yeah, I love that moment. It's so incredibly good. Well, I think it's also he realized he had to run the other way because cops were coming in, and then he realized he could see the bullet, and it's like, well, holy crap.
It's all power development.
Yeah.
He didn't realize he knew it, but he had it.
But yeah,
that's one of the best things Smallville
tested.
does is the power development. Like, I mean, he knew he was fast, but this is that moment where he sees how fast.
With the outfits that those mall cops are wearing, they look like kind of the cops you find in Batman and Robin, the 60s TV show.
Wait, Lex went in there with the mall cops, and they're like, okay, that's fine. You can come in. You just have to tell me what you have.
Yeah.
Just have
Sure, civilian, you can come in with us and see who's robbing this place.
Go to hell, Floofer.
I'm
not telling you what I know about him.
I'm like, yes, go to hell. You're not getting that information. Oh, he's so sweet and innocent here.
Yeah, he does lose some of that innocence as the show goes on, doesn't he?
He does, and I think Tom Welling plays it so well in these early
really
seasons.
does.
You know, you really get that young innocence boy about him. Even though he's 24, he plays it well.
But I feel like he does maybe not reclaim some innocence, but reclaims a lot of that in season 10 when Brainiac 5 comes to him and takes him through time. Such a great episode. Yeah, Homecoming. Thank you.
Well, that's when we see the other version of Clark. You really get a contrast.
Yes.
His next evolution.
Right. Keep on track, Rogue.
I'm positive no one ever saw me, Mom. He always thinks
how
that.
many times does he miss somebody seeing him? Come on, Clark. You should never say, I'm positive. That's when assuredly somebody sees you.
Well, just like I said, every time he says "I promise," I'm go, okay, you're not going to end up being there or doing that.
Yeah.
Kwan, Principal Kwan.
You noticed how many times this actor turns up in Canadian programs and stuff?
Do you notice how many times most people who appear in Smallville appear in Canadian programs? It's that Vancouver kind of.
And then Lana does a really smart thing here, and she shows how much she cares for Chloe and that she really doesn't want this, but she does it in such a smart way that she's able to get Chloe out of this mess. And maybe that's what really helps these two bond.
I think so.
Yeah.
And like I said, like
Lana and Chloe become best friends. It just got a bit weird when they were dating the same double.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
That with Lana, when it comes to Clark, none of the girls ever really, except for Alicia, and would never fight another girl over him. Like they don't want to be that one, like I could never see Lana and Lois fighting over Clark.
Yes, and that would never happen.
Just like Lana would never fought Chloe over. She even stopped herself from getting together with Clark because of Chloe, even though it's really Clark's decision. But
let's face it, though, if it did happen, Lois would kick Lana's ass.
Yes, it would.
Well, before or after the power suit, though.
Even after the power suit, we're talking about freaking Lois Lane. She would find a way.
Okay. Go on. Chloe, Lois, Lana, fight, go. Who wins?
Lois.
Lois, then Chloe, then Lana.
Yes.
As long as they're all depowered.
They make Lana in season 2 like she's learning self-defense. I love that moment, the blur. The first time we have the blur is Lex seeing the blur. Sorry.
But he has to go slower for people to. But he probably wasn't fast enough yet at this point.
Yeah, I think
So-
because he's only just discovering his speed, probably, and so I think that was when he was just starting to jet out of that room. So I love it because it's the first Blur sighting. I love it.
Mm.
I take it we're talking about season 8 identity.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep. Except it wasn't black in Identity.
What surprises me about that scene actually is that he allows Kelly Brook, whatever the heck her name is, to come over without shutting his laptop down.
Well, because it looks like a blur. It doesn't look like it's
I know, but how many times
Yeah.
is Lex looking at stuff when someone comes in the room and he goes, yeah, puts his laptop down because he can't have someone seeing it. But yeah, he's just.
Well, he keeps
It's a
getting more and
plot.
more sinister as it goes, and hiding more and more stuff as it
Mhm.
goes.
What's that shot?
What's
That's the shower shot. Hold on. Oh, you know.
Remove it. Oh, my
Shimmer, the
God.
invisible guy in the locker room. That's the shot we're on right now. Hulu jumped us to the next episode.
Oh, yeah, it did. And you notice that I'm not at the beginning, so I was probably looking at that.
Really? The locker room scene.
Okay,
Sometimes I
guys.
try to do
Nicola, you know the best scene is the monorail one. Can you?
Yeah, I love that one. We don't need to go off topic here, but yeah.
if we're gonna rate this episode, should we go out of 5 or out of 10?
10.
10?
Out of 10?
You prefer to rate out of 10?
I did say 6, and it's better to do it out of a bigger number than a lower number.
I can tell you what my rating. Let's see what this is 9.
Oh yeah, you made a chart of your ratings, didn't you?
Mhm.
I did. I started last night, so we'll see what I gave Rogue. No way. I did not give Rogue. I must have screwed up there.
Right, you need to do it out of 10, not 5.
Well, out of 10, I would definitely give it probably an 8 because it was really good. And episodes like Tempest, I like better, but this is definitely one of my favorite episodes of season 1.
Well, you ranked
Yes.
this your favorite of season 1 when we did our season 1 top 5s. You put this at number 1.
Yeah, I forgot about that.
yeah,
Well, because it's like you, it's fluid because Tempest is also so good, so it's
Yes,
hard.
yes. Yeah, I put Tempest at number 1. I'd give this one a 9 out of 10. For me, the only little niggle I had was just the way in which Phelan can so easily get out of a situation that was beyond sticky. But other than that,
Well, we might have explained that away this time, watching it all
yeah,
together.
I think this time around, watching it with you guys and seeing it, I think it does kind of explain that away a little bit better. So I'm more comfortable with it this time around. So yeah, 9 out of 10 for me. It's yeah, like I say, for me, it's up there as the best episode of season 1, along with Tempest. Although I probably would go with Tempest. Well, I did go with Tempest.
You did go with Tempest.
Yeah, this is definitely one of my tops of season 1. And I'd have to go with a 9.
Mm-hmm.
I might even go up to 9.5, but it's right around there. It's a very strong
I
episode.
didn't know we were doing 0.5s. Come on.
Well, sometimes I have a hard time sticking.
No, I'll go for the 9 as well.
Thank you for tuning in to the Wall of Weird, and we look forward to you listening to us next time for a new episode of Smallville. Well, not new to the show, but new to our podcast. Thank you.